There's so many myths about lie detection.
Don't try lying to this woman. She is known internationally as an expert lie spotter. And now she's sharing what she knows with us. We even asked her to analyze an interview from a well-known local murder case. Experts say you've been lied to today. In fact, research shows most of us are lied to between 10 and 200 times every day.
So, how can you tell when someone's being less than honest? David Highfield joins us with what he's learned. David.
I'll tell you, this is so fascinating. I am in love with this story. Turns out, what you think you know about spotting a liar, it's probably wrong. We traveled to Washington, D.C. to learn from the best when it comes to getting to the truth. Can you tell when someone's lying to you? Well, meet Pamela Meyer, an expert at detecting deception.
We're all liars.
Her TED Talk on the subject is super popular. She's written a book called Liespotting and runs a company called Calibrate in Washington, D.C., which helps businesses root out lying and cut down on fraud.
There are lots of things we think people do when they're lying that they don't do.
First, she says, forget the idea that liars fidget.
They freeze. They don't fidget.
Forget the idea they won't look you in the eyes.
You see this with teenagers in particular. You ask them a hard question, they stare you down in the eyes just to appear authentic, when in fact what they're doing is showing that they're lying.
She says, remember, a truthful person only looks you in the eyes about 60% of the time. Myers tells me one red flag is something called Duping Delight.
It's an unconscious delight at getting away with a big whopper, so there'll be a slight smile when someone's actually telling you that lie.
She says it starts young and points to this video.
Did you get into the Nutella?
No.
You didn't? Really?
No.
Promise?
No.
The Nutella on her cheek gives her away, but Myers says so does the smile. Then there's this video.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Myers says avoiding contractions shows you're over-determined in a denial. She says liars grab barrier objects like a pillow to put between them and the person they're lying to. Ironically, sometimes they'll say, to tell you the truth, or in all candor. And a suspect lying to police may actually point their feet toward the door.
People will lean towards the exit unconsciously.
Which brings us to the interview we asked her to watch.
I tried and I couldn't help him.
The woman talking is Donna Moonda. She was convicted in 2007 of hiring her lover to kill her husband, Dr. Gulam Moonda of Mercer County. But in this interview, she told KDKA how a masked robber shot her husband after they pulled over along the highway. Myers says someone lying can inadvertently give themselves away.
They'll say yes and they'll shake their head no, or they'll say no and they'll nod their head yes.
And she believes Moonda does that right here.
And that was the first time that I realized that there was anybody else present besides us.
She's saying that was the first time that I realized something was awry, and she's shaking her head because she knew she was in the middle of what was a planned event.
She also thinks she sees Duping Delight, a slight unconscious smile. Watch this.
You realized then what had happened?
I really wasn't sure yet. I just knew I had to get...
She is crying a bit, but it could be fake crying, we don't know, and she's smiling.
Myers says Moonda makes another mistake by giving way too much detail.
And there was already a vehicle there, so we said, no, not this one. We'll go to one that's open, that there's no one there, and that's what we did.
Liars will give you an enormous amount of inappropriate detail just to feel comfortable.
Finally, she says Moonda has a pleading tone, trying to convince you of the story, but no real sign of anger. She says if you want to trip up a liar, ask them to tell their story out of order.
When we ask someone to tell their story backwards, that raises the cognitive load significantly.
Meyer has created an empire based on getting to the truth, so how is she with lying?
Are you good at telling a lie?
Terrible.
Really?
Terrible at telling a lie.
You would think you might be good.
No, I make it my business just to tell the truth because I know how easy it is now, once you're trained, to figure out if someone's lying.
Okay, Myers says use this information wisely. Don't become that kid on the playground that yells out, liar, liar, pants on fire, because she says you can very easily get it wrong if you don't have the whole picture. For instance, some people may smile all the time, whether they're lying or not.
All right, David, hold on here just a second. I want to try something. Christine, do you think David did a good job on that report?
Yeah, it was really, really good, David.
I'm detecting something. But
that would be a barrier object.
It would be a barrier object. But I mean, she might be telling the truth even with a barrier object, or she might be telling the truth when she says to tell you the truth.
Right. And you know, I believe Christina always tells the truth.
Well,
but
yeah.
you have to establish a baseline. If someone, it could be their habit to say to tell you the truth all the time. It's whenever you see these red flags and they're out of character and they're being questioned about something really important, that's maybe when someone's not being honest.
All right, just want to let you, we didn't plan that at all.
No, not at all.
David. Not at all.